Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the F&O Show on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza. Good morning, Darshan.
Good morning, Navneet. Good morning, viewers. Let's take a look at how the markets are faring at this point of time. Basically, another century for the Nifty. The Nifty is up over 100 points, and that's led mainly on account of the stellar run in HUL today. The Nifty Bank is up almost 0.7%. So the benchmark Nifty is outperforming the Nifty Bank. Let's take a look at what's happening on the futures side. What kind of premium? It's actually shifted to a discount. The Nifty futures open interest build up is 5% on the long side. So again, put writers extremely aggressive. Call writers will get cut in this monster rally that we've seen. The Nifty Bank, let's pull up, and that is up another 0.6%. So there is 8% open interest build up on the long side. Now, it'll be interesting to see what the charts are indicating for the open interest build up, where exactly it's happening. And again, you can see at the 12,100, that's a very, very strong support level for the market. Again, at 12,200 also, put writers are extremely aggressive. And look at the two big candles at 12,200 and 12,300. The green ones, those are the call writers. If the market move continues, they will actually they will be forced to shed positions. So today, again, it's the put writers which are active, which means that the PCR again will have moved up in trade. So it's an aggressive day. Put writers are making money and call writers are losing money. Navneet, stock specific, anything you're spotting?
Well, HUL, Darshan, I believe that will be the stock of the day after Motilal's note. They've given it a target price of 24.90. The stock's up in about 4%. So let's just pull up that stock since it's your top gainer on Nifty as well. On the future side, you are seeing some sign of long position. The open interest is up about 4 to 4.5%, and the spot's up about 4.5% too. And the report has actually highlighted the growth levers going ahead, how they have outperformed in the last 10 years, and the next 3 years, according to them, will be even more better. They expect margins to expand from current levels, and of course, the acquisition of GSK will be more or less EPS accretive. Having said that, I also want to pull up the open interest gainers for today. So you've got Balkrishna Industries. Remember, the stock's been trading at fresh 52 weeks high, I guess, almost every single day. Yesterday also we saw long positions coming about here. Max Financial is your top F&O gainer. You are seeing signs of long positions here as well. Siemens is witnessing shorting today. BHEL also seeing fresh shorts, while Divi's Laboratories, where open interest has gone up, the spot is just up about 1%. On the open interest losers side then, you'll have a couple of stocks coming up on your screen. So United Breweries, Exide, Biocon and Container Copper, a couple of stocks where some shedding has come in. But on the show today, we'll discuss 3 stocks with our experts, and of course more if we have time. Balkrishna Industries, as I highlighted, it's been registering fresh 52-week high almost every day. So fresh long positions are continuing here. Moody's has changed its outlook on IndusInd Bank, and the stock's reacted negative. And the stock's been trading below all its key moving averages. And of course, Max Financial this morning has witnessed both price as well as open interest action, and there are signs of fresh long positions here.
Okay, before we get our guest on the show, here's a reminder: if you have any queries regarding the futures and option market, you can call us on 0224540441 or write to us on Twitter, Facebook with the AskPQ hashtag. Let's welcome our guest on the show. Joining us today are Subramanyam of Altamount Capital and Rahul Shah of Motilal Oswal. Many thanks for both of my guests for joining me. Rahul, I'll start with you. Good morning. What's your sense on the markets? It's up 115 points on the Nifty, 250 points on the Nifty Bank. What should ideally one do at these levels?
Hi, good morning. I think if you look at yesterday's move as well as today's move, I think what we've been looking at is, I think Nifty is coming out of the range of 12,160, which was a resistance point, and from there it's come out very sharply today. So it looks like about 12,050 on a Nifty, I think looks all right to me, and I think there could be some more upside looking at it. And if you look at the outperformance of Nifty over Bank Nifty, which itself indicates that there's a participation a little bit on the Bank Nifty side, that could be some more upside on a Nifty. So basically what we are talking is that there is not a concentration 6-7 stocks which are moving up the Nifty, but the broader participation of the indices, which looks like. So the sense is that I think it can go to 12,320 in a near term on a Nifty front.
Rahul, you're advising to buy the 12,200 call strike of tomorrow's expiry?
Yeah, so I'm advising, I think the way the markets have moved up and it's showing a bullishness sign. So I think I would advise 12,200 call of tomorrow's expiry, which is I think around 31, 32 levels. So keep a stop loss of 18 and target of 70 on that.
Okay, that's Rahul's call. Mr. Subramanyam, good morning. What's your sense? What's the ideal strategy that someone has to take at these positions on the index?
Yeah, good morning, Darshan. I think remarkable that yesterday we had a gap up and we saw some, not some, in fact, I think quite a bit of selling and we closed near the low of the day. But today again we have resumed and we have opened with a gap up and recovered the entire, the profit taking that happened yesterday. So I think the undertone of the market definitely seems to be quite bullish. But I'm focusing on Bank Nifty. This 31,500, that was a sticky area, but that appears to be now sort of bought into. So one could possibly do a bull spread going into expiry tomorrow for the current series itself. Buy 31,500 strike call and sell a 31,800 strike call. So net cost comes to about 100. So the maximum gains will be 200 and maybe one could keep a stop loss of 50.
Okay, that's a call on Nifty Bank. I think after a while, Nifty Bank has also crossed its 50-day moving average. 31,533 was the 50 DMA. Remember, for majority of the time, I think in the last 1 month, Nifty Bank has been trading below its 50 DMA. So good going. Some key levels also being reached. Of course, Nifty now is trading above all its key moving averages. And Nifty Bank, which is underperforming Nifty so far, has also crossed that crucial 50 DMA in trade. All right, let's talk about individual stocks then. Mr. Subramanyam, I'm going to come back to you. In terms of individual stock futures or stock option, what are the strategies that you're advising?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is going with counters which have shown some pretty good momentum. So M&M Financial to begin with, now this again saw some pretty good huge expansion in open interest last week and has been consolidating in some sort of a range. So today again probably trying to resume the uptrend. One could possibly buy 390 strike call that's quoting at around 11 to 12. Keeping a target of 20 and maybe one could keep a stop loss of 8. And the second one is Tata Global. Now this has been on a bull charge of its own. And this again seems to be coming out of that band and trying and probably will move upwards. So one could possibly buy 390 strike call that's quoting around 12-13. Keeping a target of 19. And maybe one could keep a tight stop loss of 9.
Okay, those are the stock views that are coming in from Mr. Subramanyam. Rahul, which are the stocks that you would want to talk about?
I think obviously consumer stocks and especially FMCG is on the road. We're seeing the lever fresh longs built up and that's and leading the rally. So in that space, I think I still like Dabur. Dabur good long positions built up, technical breakout above 506 and the stock is again trading near to its 52-week high. So with a stop loss of 510, I would advise going long on Dabur with a target of 535. Second is from the NBFC space, housing finance companies have been seeing some kind of momentum since the last 2-3 days. So from slowly and steadily hitting a low of 390 in the near term, LIC Housing Finance has started showing some strength on it. So with a stop loss of 434 and target of 460, I would go long on LIC Housing Finance.
Okay, those are the stocks that our analysts have spoken about. Let's talk about some of the stocks that we want to speak about. First of all, Balkrishna Industries stock at a 52-week high. It's up 17% this year, and fresh longs have been seen. And clearly, Nonit, one of the best performing tire stocks. And it was no doubt that this counter would perform. A couple of reasons. First of all, if you see the results that have come out, operationally it started with CEAT, MRF. Both of them came out with operationally very strong set of numbers. Even Apollo did. I think TVS Sri Chakra was the only one that disappointed. And with and they export most of it, so they're not concerned about the slowdown in the domestic market. And with the metals and mining space moving up in Europe and across the world, I think Balkrishna did well. But that's the fundamental side. What's the view on the technical side? Rahul, what's your sense on Balkrishna Industries? Will this rally continue?
I think the stock has come off and it's again back to the newer territory, and way the good longs build up indicates, I think this stock should do well. So near-term support for the stock is at 1132. With that stop loss, one can go long. It can hit 1210 in the near term.
Okay, that's Balkrishna Industries for you. Doing well in last 1 month, the counter has gained about 11%. The other one which is in focus is IndusInd Bank, and we know the reason why the stocks reacted negatively today. Ratings agency Moody's has revised the outlook to negative from stable, and that is to account for deterioration in the asset quality going ahead. Though the rating has been retained there, and as you can see, the stocks actually fallen about 15% this year. I think the stocks recovered from the lower.
Yeah, it's recovered. In the last 5 minutes, it's managed
Can you
to recover.
just pull up the intraday chart, because I think it opened open with cuts about 1.5% to 2%, and we are seeing some signs of maybe buying coming in at lower levels. Mr. Subramanyam, come in here. It's recovered from the day's low. It's at 1288.89. What are the charts indicating? I guess it's still trading below all its key simple moving averages.
Yes, Navneet, this has broadly been an underperformer, not a stock which probably one would like to buy in market where you have so many of these bullish opportunities coming about. So here, but again here, this is not a stock which one should ideally go and do some shorting, because I think close to levels of 1220, 1250, there is some clear bottom formation. So anybody having a position, maybe one could keep a tight stop loss of 1240 thereabouts. We could see some sort of retracement, maybe up to levels of I think 1350 thereabouts. So I would probably be slightly bullishly inclined on IndusInd Bank, and probably play for some small upside. But then, as I mentioned, not a stock which has really been performing in the banking sector, where you have other stocks doing well. But at the same time, I think some sort of bottom formation is very much visible on the stock.
Okay, and the last stock that we had picked up is Max Financial. It's been extremely volatile, and most of the time, to be fair, it's only news-based driven, or not even news-based, it's speculation-based driven on when a potential deal will come out. And it's been an underperformer compared to the other private sector insurance companies, be it an ICICI, HDFC, SBI, or even a Bajaj Finserv. It's been a mass underperformer as far as the financials are concerned, but nevertheless, it's up 6%. Deal happens or doesn't happen, that is a different question. But on the charts, Rahul, what's your sense on Max Financial?
I think obviously the stock is coming just out of the range from 496 or odd levels. So I think I feel that could be some more action in the Max Financial. And then we are seeing the entire sector as an insurance play is done quite well, and it looks quite promising. So my sense is with a stop loss of 492, one can initiate a long. That near term the stock can go to 512 or odd.
Okay, that's Max Financial, your top F&O gainer. I'm going to pull up Amara Raja Batteries. The stock was weak in yesterday's trade. I guess it was down about nearly 2%. On Monday also, I think it saw some bit of cuts, but some buying seen at lower levels now. Amara Raja is at 785. If you can just pull up the futures plate, we'll get an idea if there is any sort of build-up that's come in terms of open interest. Just meager 3%. Mr. Subramanyam, how are you reading the charts of Amara Raja? Would you advise taking any bets at current levels, considering the move that we've seen after the losses of last 2 days?
Well, I would think so, Navneet. I think now this stock is clearly trying to break past levels of 780 thereabouts, and it has made this attempt in the past also, but it is making the clear rising bottom and rising top formation. So I think the stock which could possibly could break past these levels of 785, 790 could head up to levels of 850. So I think a stock probably one could keep on the radar, and on any declines look to add on.
Okay, Amara Raja Battery, I think one domestic brokerage note came out today indicating that there is positive traction in the replacement market, and that's why Amara Raja and probably Exide is up. I think the stock of the day probably has to be Hindustan Unilever, up 5%. And Navneet, I'm really surprised that despite the market knowing that GSK will sell and a 25,000 crore liquidation will come in and there will be supply, still HUL continues to move. Obviously there's this Motilal Oswal note, but nevertheless
I went through that note, Darshan. Whatever points they've highlighted, they're largely known in the market. For example, they've said that the base going ahead will be lower because this year the volume growth has been on the lower side, so that will be working in that their favor. GSK deal actually is EPS accretive, so the note also said it will add about 10% to their EPS in FY21, and there has been some delay. Let's see if that comes about or not.
The deal obviously is very accretive for them, but I think the fear is a 25,000 crore supply coming in of HUL shares.
Of course.
But despite that, there is. But let's ask our experts what they feel. Mr. Subramanyam, what's your sense on HUL? Rally continue?
Well, a stock which has very good delivery volume, and now that the speculative flavor has also gone up. So I think today seems to be its day, and a good one to prop up the index as well. So not a stock that I would really go long at the current juncture, but people who want to take delivery, one strategy probably ride puts at the lower strike, since the stock is showing a huge bullish momentum, and that's the best strategy where one could possibly look to buy into the stock if at all we get to that level during expiry.
Okay, and despite of the slowdown that we've seen, they've still been posting a decent volume growth, at least so far this year. But I also want to start taking some queries before we wrap. So on YouTube, there's a query coming in from a handle called YRP. He's holding 2500 call strike of HDFC. He wants to know if he should look to hold or exit at current levels. Let's just pull up that strike. It's at 35. I don't know the premium he's entered at, but Rahul, what's the call on HDFC? If somebody is holding 2500 call, what would your advice be?
I think you should keep a stop loss, obviously, and then looking at the HDFC chart, I think obviously the good longs built up in the stock. I think you should keep a stop loss at 25.20. If it crosses about 25.20, you should exit. Till the time, I think that could be on a range, the stock could be in a range and would face a resistance at 24.96.
One more query I just want to address on Ultratech. Mr. Subramanyam, what's the advice for the current series for Ultratech? We have seen some strength in this counter, at least in the last 1 or 2 months. Not doing anything in today's trade, but would you advise taking any position? If yes, what levels would you monitor here?
Well, has seen some huge volatility on the budget day, and then again has recovered smartly. But at the current juncture, not much that one can really see. It has to consolidate above levels of this 4600, and then maybe we could see spike up to levels of 4900. So that's not in terms of a risk reward, not much on upside, but broadly the stock seems to be on an uptrend.
Okay, and the other one which has gone up in trade, I believe, is Interglobe Aviation. Let's just pull up that stock. I guess it's up about 3% now, and the futures will tell you whether it's up almost 3%. Rahul, would you take any bet on Interglobe at current levels of 1430?
I think definitely I would go long on the stock. I think looking at the way the stock has moved up, I think near term the stock has got a support at 1412 with that stop loss, and that risk to reward is quite favorable. With that stop loss, I would go long. I think 1460 could be an immediate target for the stock.
Okay, can we just quickly take a view on GAIL as well, which was your top gainer on Nifty yesterday? It was up about 6%. Of course, on the future side, we witnessed some bit of short covering. Maybe there is some cool off which has come in today's trade. The counter is down 1%. Mr. Subramanyam, after yesterday's stellar move on GAIL, of course, last 1 year, I'm sure it's not given you any sort of returns. But looking at the charts, would you take any bet?
Well, yesterday definitely there was you seem to be good appetite on the GAIL counter. We saw some short covering and as well as long built up coming about on the counter. And this 120-125 range has been decent support for the stock. So I think one could see some upside. Maybe levels of 135 could be seen towards expiring. So one could possibly hold on. I think today's maybe some sort of dismal performance on the back of a very good performance yesterday probably could be just some sort of profit taking.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on the market. With that, let me thank both of my guests, Rahul and Mr. Subramanyam, for joining us and giving us the perspective on the stock. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the F&O Show from Navneet, me, and the entire team watching. Thanks, that made the show. Thanks for watching, and keep watching BloombergQuint.
Stay tuned to BloombergQuint for more news and updates.